Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode, but this time we got a preview video. It is the Dallas Cowboys versus the Indianapolis Colts, but they are on a roll for this one. This should be a very good game. Of course, I can't do it alone. I got two of my guys with me, Michael and Landon. Michael, how are we doing today, man?
Man, we doing all right, man. It's Thursday night, feeling good. Supposed to be a really busy weekend for me. Got a company Christmas party Saturday night. Same day, I'm going to be really busy in the morning. But other than that, feeling good. Weather was cold, chilly, and then hot the next day. And I think it's gone back down. I think we're going back to consistent weather. So feeling good.
All right, Landon, how we doing out there at the bottom?
Doing great, man. Another fantastic day, getting ready for Thursday night football. Another great matchup. So, yeah, everything's going good. How are y'all?
We good.
Okay,
man.
rock star.
Yeah. Okay. Somebody's got to represent, right?
Right? But yeah, we're definitely going to do this preview for the Thursday night football game. If you are watching this now live, we appreciate all the support. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you're watching this post stream, also do the same thing. Like, comment, and subscribe. But let's go ahead and hop into this preview. The way we're going to do this, we're going to mention the Cowboys. We're going to talk about them first, and then we're going to segue into the Indianapolis Colts. Starting off, beginning with the Dallas Cowboys. This team has had themselves a season. It's been a little rocky at the beginning, with the Dak Prescott injury and everything. But, I mean, their replacement did pretty well. But Dak Prescott is back, and they're hitting on all cylinders, in my opinion, as well. But we're going to go ahead and talk about first the thing that we're going to fear the most, and that is this Cowboys defense. This Cowboys defense can get up on your offense, and they can be a scary sight in the passing game as well. But we're going to start off with this defense, man. Landon, we're going to go to you first. How do you feel going into this game for the Colts about this Cowboys defense?
Petrified. It's like the word. It's such a tough defense. They allow the second fewest points per game. They only allow 17 points per game, which is like right on target for the Colts. That's about what they score per game as well. So I don't see that really changing much, but they also allow the fewest passing yards in the league and the seventh fewest total offensive yards. And then obviously you talk about Micah Parsons and that defensive line. It's a really, really, really tough matchup this Sunday night. And it's going to be in prime time. All eyes are going to be watching. Micah Parsons is going to be lined up against Bernard Ryman, who did have a strong, week this last week, but this is a different beast. This is a different animal here. So yeah, it's not looking good. Playing against that defense, they're great, and I think their secondary is extremely underrated too. Like they're, Malik Hooker, as Colts fans know well, he's a guy that's really made an imprint this season. Trevon Diggs there at the corner position. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Michael, let me get your thoughts about this Cowboys defense going into this game for the Colts. Mike's muted.
I feel like their secondary was the biggest question mark on the team coming into the season. And, we all know the pass rush can get going, but the secondary is what always got picked apart last year. And, they didn't necessarily address that area in free agency or the draft. I mean, they held on to Malik Hooker, and obviously we know about him. This is a defense that fits his skill set as a free safety, because obviously being in that 3-4 with Chuck Pagano, he had a really good, 5 games as a rookie, and then the unfortunate slew of injuries started. But this defense, echoing what Landon said, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. That's all it is. Micah Parsons is obviously public enemy number one. I think he has a chance to be a Hall of Fame edge rusher, maybe even a generational Aaron Donald type edge rusher. This guy is just relentless. He's strong. He's athletic. I think he can play linebacker and stand-up pass rusher, but why would you even want this guy as a linebacker in pass coverage? Just have him rushing the passer, and I think he can be generational at it. And I think, even when you look at other guys, Dorrance Armstrong, DeMarcus Lawrence, You got former Colt Jonathan Hankins, former Colt great Jonathan Hankins, Neville Gallimore, Dante Fowler. I mean, the list goes on and on of guys that can go out there and play. So prayers are definitely going to be sent Sunday morning when I'm at church. I'm going to be praying for Bernard Ryman. He will be part of my prayers. You know, when we do communion and everything, we're going to be praying for him, and everybody should be praying for Bernard Ryman because Alex Highsmith is one thing. Michael Parsons is a completely different one. And coming into this game, I kind of thought to myself, what would if I was trying to make a cartoon or something, what would Bernard Ryman be? I think Bernard Ryman is leftovers. He's leftovers. Thanksgiving leftovers. Michael Parsons ate big on Thanksgiving, right? Well, now the day has passed. You're hungry. You got to eat some more. And you got to go to the fridge and get some leftovers. Bernard Ryman looks to be those leftovers, but can he have a good game against Micah Parsons? It's the NFL. Anything can happen, right? So I'm not going to say he's going to get completely obliterated, but Vegas bettors are definitely banking on that.
Yeah, man, absolutely. It's gonna be a scary sight to watch, man, for this Colts offense who's been struggling consistently week for week, man, especially with the quarterback scenario, the new head coaching, the new offensive coordinator scheme. Like everything's just not hitting on all cylinders for the Colts this year. And it's been a very tough year to watch for Colts fans and even content creators as well, because you're trying to figure out what are we going to talk about besides the same thing every week, because it's the same issue with the Indianapolis Colts. But now segueing from the Cowboys defense, we're going to go ahead and talk about the Cowboys offense here. And the Cowboys offense can put up some points when they want to, because they do have a nice scheme. You know, they have that offensive coordinator over there. You know, the golden child, I think that's what they call him, or something like that of that nature. But you
Yeah,
know, they
Kellen
have their
Moore.
hiccups. Yep, that's right. I mean, they have their hiccups on offense as well, but when they get going, they get going. They got a scheme that not a lot of teams don't run, and it can be very fluid when they want to be. So the Colts defense have been looking good all year, but of course, when the offense is struggling for the Colts, the defense just seems to get gassed, and that's where points start to go up. So let me get your thoughts first, Landon, on this Cowboys offense and what they can do going against the Colts.
Well, I mean, they like you said, they can put up points. So since week 7, since Dak came back, right? They lead the league in points per game. They're averaging almost 34 points per game since Dak Prescott returned. Now, some of that, obviously is a little inflated by a couple games there, but they're utilizing Tony Pollard more in the run game. He looks to be like one of the best running backs in football. Obviously, Zeke is still there, and really the engine that drives this offense and what we thought would be very similar for the Colts is their offensive line. The difference is their offensive line has given up the fewest sacks in the NFL. They've only given up 14 sacks on the season. So this is an offensive line that they can move you off the ball in the run game. They're extremely physical. You can't rush the passer against them. They keep Dak clean, and whenever they're clean, they can sit there and they can just dice you up and down the field. They run the ball. They're extremely balanced. I believe their run and pass splits is damn near 50-50. It's so they run 46.5% of the time. They pass 53.5% of the time. So they're the definition of a balanced attack. And they can beat you in multiple ways. So you combine that with now Kenny Moore is officially out of this game. Isaiah Rodgers now is also questionable. He's dealing with something as well. So if he doesn't play, you're losing 2 of your top 3 cornerbacks, on the roster right now. And luckily you still have Stephon Gilmore, and we'll see what he can do against CeeDee Lamb. But then on top of that, you're going out there. Michael Gallup's played really well. Dalton Schultz has been really phenomenal for them, and they really grind you, and they can hit you with those explosive plays and play action. So Colts defense is really going to have a test, and I didn't think they put their best foot forward against the Steelers, and this is a much, much better quarterback and offensive line and just total offense over what the Steelers are. So they've got their work cut out for them. I'll say that.
Yeah, for sure. This offense, man, can scare me. You mentioned Schultz. Schultz could be a big target, but I'm looking at Gallup as the same way the Steelers use Deontay Johnson. I feel like they can use Gallup the same way going into this game. And you mentioned Rodgers and Kenny Moore being out. That means Brandon Faison is going to have to step up and play a bigger role this week. And we know how Faison can be inconsistent. I mean, he gets his moments, but there's a lot of times when it's just like he's just going to get cooked, and it's just going to be inevitable. So Gus Bradley's going to have to draw up the best scheme and try to figure this out with the adjustments on the fly with this team to try to keep them in contending mode of to try to win a game moving forward. But Michael, let me get your thoughts about this Cowboys offense and going into this game against this injury-prone Colts defense, man.
Uh, they've impressed me. They have. Rookie left tackle Tyler Smith out of Tulsa. I really like Tyler Smith. I didn't think he was going that early in the first. I also didn't think he would probably be a left tackle. But man, has he played well. He really has. So him going up against Yannick Ngakoue, that's going to be interesting to see. Or we'll need Yannick to step up in this game. Didn't necessarily have a great game last week. Kwity Paye is looking like he could be back in this game. So how our edge rushers look against Tyler Smith and Terrence Steele on the right side will definitely be intriguing to see how that matchup plays out. But look, this offense. I'm not going to talk about Dak Prescott. I'm not going to talk about CeeDee Lamb or Dalton Schultz. This offense is really about two guys. If we just peel it back and see what is the engine that drives this Cowboys offense, it's really about two guys, and that's Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. That's what it's about. CeeDee Lamb can do his thing, yeah, but it's really about the pressure that this running game puts on opposing defenses, because you really are forced to play both ways on defense, not just focus in on one thing. Before the season, I said Tony Pollard is a really good running back. And if he got a running back one role in this league, he would be a top 15 running back. He's certainly performing like it right now. He's catching the ball out of the backfield. I think his burst, his initial just first step out of his stance as a running back, he is so explosive through the hole. Zaire Franklin and Bobby Okereke are going to have to be on their P's and Q's. EJ Speed as well. Grover Stewart and DeForest Buckner are going to have to do their thing and try and clog up the middle, and it's definitely going to be hard when you got Zach Martin that you're going to be going up against. Grover Stewart versus Zach Martin is going to be very fun on Sunday. But it's really about the run game with this team, because Ezekiel Elliott, he's going to get his, but it's about when Ezekiel comes off the field. Initially, when your running back one comes off the field, okay, all right, this is a chance maybe we can stop the run. No, that's not the case with Dallas. Tony Pollard is fast. He's quick. He has such good vision, good hands if you want to throw it to him. And this is, I hate to say it, I have no idea how the Colts are going to cover Dallas this Sunday. I don't. That's not me being a hater. That's not me, just wishing that the Colts lose. That's me seriously questioning. Kenny Moore is most likely going to be out. Isaiah Rodgers is dealing with something. Who? There's no Shaq Leonard. So your pass rush is suspect. How are you going to defend this offense? How are you going to defend Tony Pollard when Ezekiel Elliott comes off the field? I don't know. But Gus Bradley is a very good defensive coordinator. He is a very good defensive coordinator. There is talent on this defense. It's been a good defense all year. So I'm excited to see what that matchup goes like between the running backs and our linebackers.
I agree 100%, man. Tony Pollard is so good at what he do. And if we would just think for a moment, that game when the Colts played the Commanders, their running back was one of the biggest issues, catching the ball out the backfield, and the Colts just wouldn't cover it at all the whole game. And then you're going into a game with a high scoring offense like the Dallas Cowboys and a guy like Pollard who's a little bit more athletic than Robinson and a little bit quicker. It's going to be an issue, especially when you're banged up as well. It's going to be a huge thing to try to figure out how the Colts is going to, at least try to contain them from scoring over 30 points. This is going to be a huge game for the Colts. Like I said, the Colts haven't been having a good year. Plus, they're banged up. It's going to be rough to watch. So we're going to have to, we're going to have to brace ourselves for this game. But speaking of the Colts, we're gonna move on from the Cowboys. Let's go ahead and segue into the Indianapolis Colts. There's two questions. We're gonna start off with this Colts offense because that is the biggest problem for this team moving forward. They week in and week out just does not give the Colts defense any opportunity to try to get some type of energy moving forward because the Colts defense just has to stay on the field. So we're gonna talk about this Colts offense, the fumbles, the non-needed interceptions, and the late passes. We're gonna go ahead and start off with you, Landon. What is one thing the Colts have to do? Well, not even one thing. Just tell me in general. What is the thing in general the Colts offense have to do this game to try to put up some type of points instead of 3 points?
Well, I know the analytics crowd is really going to get me on this one here, but you got to run the ball. You do. You have to establish the run. You have to keep that offense off the field. And to Jonathan Taylor's credit, I know he's had the fumbling issues, and which I know we've touched on previously. Not entirely all on him, but it's really odd to sit here and think that whenever he has played and he's healthy, he's still fifth in the league in rushing yards per game. He's averaging almost 90 yards a game whenever he plays. So that's going to have to come into effect here. They're going to have to run the ball effectively, and you can't count on the scheme. You can't count on Matt Ryan. You can't count on these wide receivers getting separation fully. You need to almost kind of mirror what the Cowboys offense does. And they use the run to set up the passing game. The difference is, obviously they have Dak Prescott, the Colts have Matt Ryan, and there's a pretty big difference in quarterback play there. But that's to me their only shot at keeping this game close is to keep the offense off, or keep the Cowboys offense off the field, establish the run, long sustained drives that end in touchdowns, not field goals. And for the love of God, quit turning the ball over inside the 20-yard line. You cannot turn the ball over in the red zone. And they do it every week.
Yeah, I agree. That's kind of crazy. It's funny you mentioned that because there's another team that does that. It's the Buffalo Bills, but we aren't the Buffalo Bills. They know how to adjust and put up some points regardless of, turning the ball over down there 20 yards and under. But yeah, man, I agree, man. We don't have a quarterback like Dak Prescott. We got old savvy Matt Ryan that can't really run out the pocket. That just seems to miss a lot of targets on open plays. But it is what it is at the end of the day. Mike, let me get your thoughts on what the Colts offense has to do to put up some type of points besides 3 against this Cowboys defense.
You really want to know?
Yeah, man, absolutely.
You said we don't have a quarterback like Dak Prescott. I think we do. First off, I think this is a game that Sam Ehlinger needs to start because, for one,
you had us in the first half. I'm not gonna lie. You had us. In the first half. What's that meme where the dude was like, "You had me in the first half. I'm not gonna." lie.
From Eastview.
Yeah. You had me there for a second. I was like, wait a second.
You did not think I was gonna say Nick Foles.
No, I thought you were talking about Matt Ryan.
Oh, no. We got to start Sam Ehlinger. We do, because Matt Ryan is going nowhere with this pass rush. That's number one. Before I talk about anything on this offense, I am addressing quarterback. Sunday Night Football, okay, but Matt Ryan's going nowhere. And already he's missing passes. When you go back and watch the film from this last game, he missed about 3 passes. I mean, one of them damn near was a touchdown if he would have just pulled the damn trigger. He didn't. He's slow. He's not reacting the same way. Nothing's going right. But I understand what Landon is talking about when he says run the ball. He's right. Because for the reasons he stated, here's another one. Neutralize Michael Parsons' pass rush impact. DeMarcus Lawrence, he's going to be on the other side. Neutralize that pass rush. And then here's where Sam Ehlinger comes into play. He can run around and evade some stuff. Now, he's not going to outrun Michael Parsons. Let's get that straight. He's not going to do that. But can he extend some plays when the pocket collapses? Just that extra 2 to 3 seconds that Matt Ryan won't give you, It's not an opinion of if he will. It is a fact he won't give you those 2 to 3 seconds. Sam Ehlinger can. Can he extend some of these plays? All you need is a second. All you need is 2 seconds. I think he can do that. Can Paris, Pittman, Alec Pierce, can one of those guys gain separation going off script a little bit to help this offense? That's number one. Number two is not necessarily focusing on, because the matchups outside speak for themselves when we're talking about Ryman, Smith versus Parsons and Lawrence. But I'm looking on the inside. Got guys like Dorrance Armstrong, Jonathan Hankins. You got guys playing inside. Ryan Kelly isn't really playing that well. Will Fries isn't really playing that well. What does that matchup inside look like? Because before, obviously, everybody wants to talk about what's going on outside. I'm worried about what's going on inside. That's where I'm worried about, because, again, I haven't made my decision yet, but when I go to Prize Picks and make my selection, whatever Matt Ryan's projected total in pass yards, I am going less, punching less, and I'm putting a lot of money on that bet, because odds are I'm going to win that one. People who do that are going to win that one. That's number one. The first change has to be Sam Ehlinger, because I'm sorry, it's going to be Thanksgiving at my mother-in-law's house all over again. Just eating, turkey standing in the middle of the table, not going anywhere. Everybody's getting their paws on it. That it's going to be Thanksgiving all over again. So that's really my shtick. If you don't do that, there's no hope for this offense whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree. And Lando, I'm going to ask you this question. Should Sam Ehlinger start or even get a chance against this Dallas Cowboys defense? Because one, I would say they probably don't have enough film, and they're probably going to be caught off guard if he does come into the game eventually. And that could potentially start a spark for this Colts offense to do something. Not saying that they'll win, but they'll do something to give the defense some type of energy moving forward. So I'm going to ask you, should he start or at least get a chance versus this team?
I mean, it's tough. It's you almost too, like, you worry about throwing him into the lion's den again. I mean, we saw what happened in New England, where that wasn't necessarily a good game, obviously, but yeah, I do agree that he can help mitigate some of the pass rush. Now, he does have the tendency, whenever he steps into throws, to step towards the pressure instead of planting and just throwing. So he can bring himself into pressure a lot, but he can also escape pressure and make throws on the run, and it gives you a multiple aspect of your offense that you don't have with Matt. But I can tell Mike watched my Twitter feed yesterday on those open throws. It's disheartening for sure. And see, I don't know if Sam makes those throws either. Oh, your mic's off. You said.
Oh, I said which everybody should be following and seeing, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. But yeah, I don't know if Sam makes those throws either, honestly. I mean, I don't think the answer is not on the roster, but it's, if they're going to make the move, they need to make the move. But I don't think they do. I don't expect them to. And I think he's going to stick with Matt, I think, until the wheels fall off. And I know the wheels have technically already kind of fallen off, but not to the Colts, not to Jeff Saturday, and not to Irsay. So they're still trying to win games. I think Matt is your best option, but yeah, there's no really good way around it. But
like I don't think they. Okay,
No.
can you hear me? I'm sorry.
No,
Okay.
you're good. You're good.
I don't think you have a chance in this game at all. Let's just get that straight. I don't think you have a chance in this game at all. But if you wanted to find an answer, I think Sam is that answer, because again, you bring up the New England game. Hell, it probably would have been worse if Matt Ryan was in that game. Probably would have been worse. But he was injured anyway. I mean, you've already benched both quarterbacks by now, so Matt Ryan gets benched, and then Sam Ehlinger gets benched for Matt Ryan. What really are you doing now? I mean, again, I still find it valid. You should start Sam Ehlinger to find out what you have, at least in backup terms, I guess you could say, because at this point, what are you really doing? But you just find yourself outgunned and outmatched in this game because of the liability that is the offensive line and then the liability that is Matt Ryan. He has not been good this season other than 2-minute drives when you need to go down there and get some points. Outside of that, he hasn't really been good, and I don't really see too many holes on this Cowboys defense. Like, just again, looking at it, I'm not sure where they're going to take advantage.
I'll say this. I think the saving grace for Matt is his ability to galvanize the locker room. Like they do play for Matt. They play hard for Matt. Lack of effort has not really been an issue, over the last 3 weeks with Jeff Saturday. And, Matt does have that. Those guys will play their asses off for him. Now, whether they execute well or anything, that's a completely different story. But they will try. They will play hard. And I just don't know if Sam has that clout yet within the locker room to pull. I mean, we saw it whenever Matt was benched. That locker room was extremely divided. I don't think you can divide the locker room again now under Jeff Saturday. Like at some point, continuity matters. So you've made the decision. You fired your offensive coordinator. You fired your head coach. You benched your quarterback. You brought him back. You've hired Jeff Saturday, who's.
I was about to say, are they not divided already after all of that?
Yeah, well, I mean, they were, but I do think now they are playing more as one unit, and that's why you've seen them. Like they have been competitive. They're 1-2. They did beat the Raiders, which
2-8 football team.
Yeah, they're the Raiders, but they played the Eagles to the very end. They played the Steelers to the very end. They're not out there getting blown out in these games. They're playing hard. They just lack the horsepower to go. So I think it's possible that if they, you've got to. Thanks, Avery. Appreciate it. If you stick with Matt Ryan, you're at least going to have that and his ability to galvanize his teammates and get them playing hard. Now, that's only one part of it, of course, but that would really be my argument for keeping Matt Ryan is that you would at least have a chance to keep the game competitive.
And that's a real argument.
Yeah. I agree 100%. I think what you mentioned, you said lack of effort. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just lack of execution because the plays are there, but it's just not getting done. So you made a good point right there. I definitely agree.
This man over here chugging milk.
Nah, bro, look, yeah, dude, it's sweet tea. It's Kentucky.
Oh, I was about to say that was like 12-year-old me sneaking in the kitchen at night, getting a gallon of 2%, taking it back to my room.
Oh yeah, we love that too. But yeah, we're big sweet tea fans, and I don't really drink a ton of it because I'm more of like a diet Mountain Dew and water kind of guy. But I'm getting over the flu. My throat's a little sore. I wanted something cold.
Hey man,
this is the only thing cold that we had in the fridge, so I just grabbed what I could.
I'll say this, man, don't nobody want to drink no hot sweet tea.
I don't know.
I will say this: when I worked at Cracker Barrel and I was in charge of tea, you had a good time. I'll say that you had a good time because when some of my other, well, I won't say it on the stream, but some of my other co-workers, Marcus, you know what I'm talking about, when they would make sweet tea. Over here putting 3 cups of sugar. Oh, you gotta follow the recipe. What it costs for 3 cups. Boy, I'll put like 10 cups in that thing, man. You're the
reason why the little kids are running around causing havoc by the fireplace and Pickers.
Yes, sir. And it increases the tip. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I wonder why the
man, I'm not about to give no kids no bad sweet tea, man. Michael loves the kids. We got to treat them right.
Michael loves the kids.
Loves the kids, man.
It's all about the children here at the Blue Stable.
All about the children. Come on now.
Absolutely. Well, I won't tell you what I say on stream, but it's okay. But moving forward. But yeah, we both made good points about that. We'll definitely got the questions rolling in. We'll get into them later. But yeah, that is definitely a toss-up situation with Sam Ehlinger and Matt Ryan. It does not move the needle for the Colts moving forward to this season because it looks like the season's pretty much wrapped up all the teams are starting to hit stride and turn into playoff mode, and the Colts are just not there. Landon mentioned the wheels falling off. If the Colts had any wheels left, it'd be one squeaky one that needs WD-40. So moving forward, we're gonna
Brake pads ain't even on that thing.
yeah, it's not
Looks,
on there.
it
It's just
looks
going
like that
cellular.
vehicle you draw when you're in kindergarten, like the little
Yeah.
stick vehicle.
Just a box with two circles at the
You have
bottom.
two little
Hey,
circles.
bro, it kind of reminds me now. Okay, so let me give y'all a little story. Okay, this is what this Colt season reminds me. Okay,
Mhm.
back in high school, our alma mater, we had already graduated. My alma mater was in the playoffs. They were facing Kyler Murray's. He wasn't playing, but his old high school, Allen. And it was the second round of the playoffs, and me and my friends, we wanted to go. I believe it was me, Brandon, Braden, and Avery. And we took my car. It was an old, like 1999 Honda. And we got to Waco, and they were playing in Dallas. We got to Waco, and we got some stopped and got something to eat. Then we started driving to Dallas. Man, the freaking engine blew up. And so we were trying to, like, we were so mad, bro. I was so embarrassed. But my friend Avery made a joke because we were trying to get back home. And he made a joke. He was just like, man, bro, the engine probably ain't even in. It probably dropped like a mile back, and we've been cruising ever since. I feel like that's what this Colts season is now. Like, the engine is gone. We're just cruising at this point. We just driving. We down. There ain't no engine, ain't no gas, ain't nothing. We just rolling down a hill on four wheels.
The
That's all it
Flintstone
was.
vehicle where Jonathan Taylor's got his feet and he's just running with the
Oh
road.
yeah. That's what it, I don't know why. Like when y'all talked about, oh man, if there's any wheels on this car, it just brought me back to that moment, bro. It was so funny that night. I was pissed and laughing my ass off that entire night.
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get to a question now. Shout out to this guy. He says Sam Elliott gives the best opportunity for development. Matt Ryan doesn't have consistency to do small ball. Hey man, every opinion counts, but it's just to
Yes,
be
sir.
honest, it's just lack of execution. You said there ain't no driver on the car either for the Colts. That's funny. But there is a question we was talking about earlier, and I thought it would be funny to bring it up now. The rumor that Jim Harbaugh is potentially being brought in for a visit. Y'all thoughts on if he's the next head coach? And it's funny that you mentioned that because we talked about it before we went live. And if you two want to share your thoughts on this situation, feel free to do so. Landon, you can go first.
I want Mike to go first. He's the hater in
He's definitely the hater. But hey, we love that energy. One positive, one con. Come on.
Okay.
here. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Okay. All right. I dislike Jim Harbaugh. I dislike him. But I do acknowledge the reasons why I dislike him have nothing to do with X's and O's. Have nothing to do with putting a coaching staff together. It has nothing to do with that. I believe if you got Jim Harbaugh, I believe the Colts are in for good things. I think he will bring results. I think he will bring a strong coaching staff. I think there will be a sense of accountability on this team. Not saying that Frank Reich didn't hold players accountable. I'm not even going there about that. But the way that Jim Harbaugh carries himself as a football coach, as a CEO of a football team, I believe is almost second to none. I think he's up there on a level of like a Bill Belichick because I think he demands that type of respect. And obviously his brother for the Baltimore Ravens, who's been there for already almost a decade, won a Super Bowl. We already know that story. My reasons are for he just acts like a spoiled, entitled little brat. We obviously followed the situation with Minnesota last year, wanted more money. Minnesota was for details. I think Landon can give more specific details on that. It's a head coaching job, and he was making a big deal of it and just threw a whole fit and said, I'll go back to Michigan. There was an article by The Athletic that quoted, oh, my time in the NFL is done. You know, I won't go back after that, whole shtick with the Minnesota Vikings. I'm just sitting there thinking like, dude, like grow up, like be a grown man for once, like take the job, stop complaining like a little entitled little girl, because clearly he's never been told no in his life. And that's how he carries himself. But at the same time, he's a damn good football coach, man. He is a damn good football coach. Like he did what he did with the 49ers. He goes to Michigan, who Landon, we talked about, were playing in the freaking Outback Bowl before he got there. Like the freaking Outback Bowl, playing for nothing. And it took some time, like any other program or organization would. It took time, and look at where he is now. He's on the cusp of a second straight Big Ten championship and a college football playoff berth. That's not easy to do. And if he came to Indianapolis, I think he would do great things. But I also think there would be some bratty moments, some complaining moments, like he's had in the media. If Kevin Bowen was to ask him about wide receivers, I think him and Kevin Bowen would get into a gigantic argument because Jim Harbaugh can't take criticism. So that's my whole thing. My what Landon wants to say, hater, is for just how he acts. But in terms of straight football, dude has a chance to win Super Bowls.
All right, yeah, you got it out your system. Well, like I love Jim Harbaugh. I've always loved Jim Harbaugh. I love the family. I like his dad a lot. And I do think that if there is an avenue for it to happen, then they should be all over it, like without question. The thing with Minnesota that Mike was alluding to was basically about money and having more like roster control, which to me, every head coach should have. If I'm being honest, like personally for me, I would want a head coach that has control over, like if you're gonna ask me to cook a steak dinner with a baked potato, don't give me fries and chicken tenders. I'm just saying, like let me shop for my own ingredients.
Oh yeah, he really from Kentucky with that.
Yeah, look, I'm just saying, like it's. If you're asking me to give you a 5-course meal, don't give me supermarket food.
100%.
But on top of that, when it strictly football speaking, he's one of the best coaches in the nation, regardless college or NFL. Had success literally everywhere he's went. Even as a positional coach, he was the quarterbacks coach for Rich Gannon. The year he won MVP, that year of the Oakland Raiders. And clearly the Colts need a franchise quarterback. He has developed some of the very best, including our very own Andrew Luck. He was his college coach as well. So he has ties to the organization. His best years as a player were here. He's very close with Jim Irsay. And really it just boiled down to in Minnesota, he knew what his worth was. He knew what he was worth, and he already had a good gig. If you're going to lure him away from Michigan, where he has now spent 8 years building a program into a perennial now championship contender, after, I don't know if you guys know, Michigan was not very good whenever Harbaugh got there. Despite, the tradition and all that, they were struggling for sure for years. So it's just a guy that knew his worth. He wanted roster control. He wanted, things that to me should be non-negotiable whenever you have a guy of that caliber wanting to come there. And Minnesota was not willing to budge. So, I mean, why would I come? For sure. It's funny. His old quarterback whenever he was the head coach at San Diego at the Aztecs, Kevin O'Connell was his quarterback whenever he had his first head coaching job at San Diego. Ended up getting that Minnesota job. So it's funny how things are full circle. But he holds extreme clout within coaching circles, whether it's the NFL or college. The Colts would have almost their choice of coordinators, positional coaches. Guys would want to be in Indianapolis to come with Jim Harbaugh. And that's something that can not be stated enough. Like, that is a huge, huge thing.
And real quick, just to interject real quick, question for you, Landon. Isn't that the type of guy you want to overcome people's questions about Jim Irsay and him involving himself in the decisions like he did?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll say this, if Jim does end up coming, Harbaugh that is, he would 100%, like, he would want roster control. Now, you would also, I mean, I'm not saying he would be the GM, because the GM does way more than just draft players and agents. Like, I don't think people really understand what the proper role of a GM is, but that's one of the roles for sure. But Jim Harbaugh would want roster control. I think he would get it. He would want to be the CEO of the Colts. and he would have to and him and Jim Irsay have a very good working relationship. They feel very good together, um, and they work very well together. Is what I meant. And I don't think that would be much. I don't think Jim Irsay would necessarily be an issue if a guy like Harbaugh ended up taking the job. So I don't know if there's any truth to it. I don't know. I haven't heard anything outside of the Twitter stuff and all that, and and none of it to me is, unless I hear it from like a big time source,
Yeah,
coming through, then who knows? But he is in Indy this weekend. They're playing the Big Ten championship game in town. There's a prime
yeah.
opportunity for that meeting to happen. I imagine even if they weren't talking the job, there's a very good chance that him and Jim Irsay would be together at some point.
I
Just
would.
just because they're friends outside of
Yeah,
football, like they work very well together, and yeah, that to Michael's credit, this would go an extremely long way from fixing the image of Ursay as a guy that meddles in personnel decisions and roster decisions as he has over the last 8 months or so. And really, it would open up a world of opportunity for other coaches to want to be in Indianapolis, other players to want to be in Indianapolis as free agents to come play under Jim Harbaugh and those coaches. And then the main thing to me is he's a fantastic quarterbacks coach and a former quarterback that played in the NFL. He knows what it takes to be successful at that position. He's one of the very few people that I think would really, like, I guess, challenge some of the other coaches that might not be available to us, like Sean Payton or those type of guys, to come in and mentor a young guy. And that's going to be the single most important aspect of this offseason, is getting that young franchise guy and the coaching and the head coach and the coaching staff to mentor him and surround him with the proper tools and talent to succeed. And if Jim Harbaugh is that guy, I have no questions on whether that works out or not.
real quick, real quick. I don't know. Like, I've reached out. It's been crickets. Like, nobody truly knows if this is happening or not. It's been crickets. Even the people I've reached out to haven't been able to confirm this. But I mean, I wouldn't think they would be having that dinner. Like Landon said, if Jim Irsay wanted to come to practice or come to the team hotel and see what the spirits are like before the game, okay. But it's the Big Ten championship. You're trying to lock up a college football playoff spot. I don't think that would be going down. But then again, these are grown men. They can do whatever they want. But the other thing to this is, when you talk about coaches, I do like the idea of Jim Harbaugh coming, and then maybe there's a possibility where, David Shaw could possibly come to Indianapolis. So David Shaw, like you, has clout in coaching circles. He is a well-respected guy now, and we don't know if he is inquiring. Universities are reaching out to him about their head coaching vacancies, Cincinnati being one of them, and they're obviously waiting on Deion Sanders to make his decision there. But I would like to see a guy like him come into an NFL building, and you can go all day about coaches, but David Shaw being one of those guys who I mentioned on the past episode. Yeah, Jim Harbaugh would be, I think, your ideal guy. Ken Dorsey and Shane from Philadelphia, no, those guys, I think they're going elsewhere. Jim Harbaugh, I think, would be the best spot in terms of fit, the number one guy. And I think he should be the number one guy on all Colts fans' list. And also, if you talk about quarterback, you could go ahead and throw rookie out the window. It's Colin Kaepernick season, baby. I'm just kidding there. But
Please don't do that.
I love the idea of him being the guy to get the rookie quarterback. I love that. Now, my last point, people complained about Frank Reich showing no emotion, but you about to get a whole lot of it with Jim Harbaugh. Now, you can't go both ways. Oh my gosh, he shows no emotion. Man, he shows too much emotion. You can't get in the middle. You got to take one or the other. But I would be fully on board if Jim Harbaugh was here.
I agree 100%. Harbaugh is a good coach. Definitely, him bouncing from the NFL into the college aspect and still being able to win in general It just showed you his grit and his pedigree of what he does as a head coach and holding these players accountable. He's a good players coach, man, and definitely deserves to be on the NFL field sideline for any team in general. I just think he's worthy of it just due to how he coaches the team in general. Last question, we did mention it the other day. He said, in the first round, is there any other position or player that the Colts could draft which would not cause you to raise your eyebrow? Landy, you can go first.
That would not cause us to raise an eyebrow?
Yeah, right. So, like, if the Colts was
Um,
to not get a QB and they'll get another talent, would you be, who would it be?
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
would raise
oh, I
your
mean, you could always, cornerback, pass rusher, left tackle, wide receiver. Um, had that would be it, really. Those positions right there. I think you're set at linebacker. I think you're set at safety for the future. Um, I wouldn't take any of these interior linemen in the first
Oh, Chris
round.
Ballard is 100% taking a guard.
Yeah, well, Chris Ballard might not have roster control if Jim Harbaugh comes.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, to me, the biggest need outside of quarterback, the single biggest need outside of quarterback is pass rush. You've got to get a pass rusher. Yannick Ngakoue, if he is re-signed, he's nothing more than a rotational guy, to come in on third downs and play. But you need somebody that's dynamic and can pair well with Kwity Paye. And then outside of that, it would be because I do think Bernard Ryman is going to be a good left tackle in the league. He's shown enough over the last. He's shown enough growth to me even from preseason.
Yep.
His growth from where he was in preseason and camp is astronomical. Like, it is insane. Really, the only thing he has to work on, and it was always his biggest weakness and something that is just going to take time, and that's just play strength and his
Mhm.
anchor. And that's just something that comes with being in an NFL strength and conditioning room. It just takes time. But outside of that, I do like Ryman, so I don't know. I mean, yeah, if you have a surefire stud, 100% franchise left tackle there, I mean, yeah, it's hard not to pull the trigger, but I think Ryman's going to be fine. So, yeah, my two positions outside of quarterback would be probably pass rush, and then if you trade back and possibly get a cornerback. They don't have the top 10 lockdown Sauce Gardner cornerback in this class, but it is a very, very, very deep cornerback class, especially there, at the back end, into the teens and, going all the way back into the first round. There's some really talented guys out there. So that would be my
Mike,
answer.
you agree with that?
I agree. I mean, y'all already know me. If it's not quarterback, my number one guy I want drafted is Tyree Wilson. Like, I want that dude so bad. Him and Kwity Paye would be such a good pairing. They would be such a good pairing. Like, I do want to believe that Bernard Ryman, now I can't commit to it yet, but I do want to believe Bernard Ryman can be that guy at left tackle. I mean, hell, he doesn't even have to be an Anthony Costanzo. He doesn't have to be a top 5 left tackle. He doesn't have to be a top 8 left tackle. But, man, can you just do your job? Can you just protect the quarterback's blind side? Can you be a top 12 left tackle? Even if he can do that, I'm perfectly fine with it. Tyree Wilson, outside of a quarterback, is my number one guy I want to get. Tyree Wilson is that guy. Such long arms. He is strong. Like, he can get around an NFL right tackle and bulldoze an NFL left tackle, I believe. If that's his ceiling, 100%. And then, like we talked about in the last show, I feel like you can find yourself in a situation where you can make the rich richer. Go get a wide receiver. Pair him up with Pittman, Pierce, because we've spent a decade asking questions about wide receiver. Even when T.Y. Hilton was 23. Even when Reggie Wayne was in his second to last year. You had questions about wide receiver. Okay? Anybody remember the trio of T.Y., Reggie, and Hakeem Nicks? Anybody remember that trio? I want to get this wide receiver room right. Edge rusher, wide receiver feel like the go-tos. If it's not quarterback, left tackle, I want to believe Bernard Ryman is that guy. Bro, if we go linebacker or guard, I'm going to be so damn pissed off, man. Like, we're probably going to go safety. Like, out of all these needs, let's take another safety. Or no, let's take a tight end. My gosh. But, yeah, to me, it just in the first round, you target franchise guys, you target premier spots, quarterback, wide receiver, corner, left tackle, or edge rusher. That is where you need a target if you're in the first round. No, don't take Bijan Robinson. I would never dream of spending a first round pick on a running back. Hell, freaking man, we can talk running backs all day long, but yeah, I would go edge rusher, wide receiver, first round if it's not quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. I like that idea. Especially I like the idea of having two young pass rushers. I think I'm going to steal Yannick's quote because he said pass rushers back. I think he was talking about next year, especially if we draft one to pair with Kwity Paye. Ooh, what a dangerous sight it would be to have two pass rushers that is young, especially motivated like Kwity Paye to come off the edge. I think that's going to be something to look forward to in this offseason. I think we're all ready for the offseason anyway. I'm just ready. I'm just ready. You guys got ideas talking about, prospects going into the draft and everything. I'm just ready for the offseason, ready for the season to be over because the Colts aren't going to do anything spectacular. So,
hey, real
moving
quick,
forward,
I
yeah,
do want to say, and we'll go ahead and we can promote this early, okay? Because this is going to be a marquee series that we're going to be starting at the Blue Stable.
Mhm.
We're implementing something for all three of us, okay? Marcus, you're going to have your chance. Landon, you're going to have your chance. I'm going to have my chance. We're going to start a series playing GM of the Indianapolis Colts. Playing GM of the Indianapolis Colts. Yes, an entire show where Marcus, Landon, and myself are going to have our own set of, if we were the GM of the Indianapolis Colts, who is going to be our head coach pick? Marcus doesn't have to ask me. He doesn't have to ask Landon. Landon doesn't have to ask Marcus. It is about who they would pick, what they would do as GM. Head coach, draft picks, free agent signings, trades, all the whole deal. You guys want to tune in for that. We will start that in the off season when we will discuss and talk about when we'll do that. But that is a series I am excited for. I want to see where Marcus's head at is with the whole process, where Landon's head is at during that whole process. Y'all don't want to know where I'm going, okay? Y'all really don't want to know where I'm going. Landon, I'm excited for this series. I'm excited for it. Where will we go as Colts GM? I'm excited for it. So
just dangerous. I already get called an idiot enough on the internet. Why not just throw another one in there?
Right. Hey man, let's start a little bit of promotion for this series, okay?
Funny. I actually probably about 45 seconds ago got called a dumbass on Twitter. So it's it would fit perfectly into everything.
Absolutely.
I think he deleted genius from the tweet.
You guys, we're almost there, but I can't wait for that series.
Yeah, me neither. Before we get up out of here, this has been a great stream. Again, like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Appreciate everyone supporting from the Facebook side as well. Appreciate each and every one of you. But we got to give a score prediction for this game. We didn't do that, but I think that is the best way to end the stream as well. So, Michael, you can go first. What is going to be the score between this bloodbath on Sunday night between the Cowboys and the Colts?
Well, Cowboys are winning. That's obvious. I think this on paper, it matches up horribly, like absolutely horribly for Indianapolis. But I think this locker room just has a lot of pride. They will come to play. They will come to fight. It's Sunday night football. I joked in the last show, man, could we see a what was that year, 2011 Sunday night game between the Colts and Saints, where I think the final score was 60-7 in favor of the Saints? I don't think this will be that.
But to like 3 or something.
Right. I do have the Cowboys. I think the Colts will put up a fight, but give me the Cowboys. I'll say 31-9. I don't think they see the end zone. 31-9, the Cowboys.
All right, Landon, go ahead and give you a score prediction. Who wins?
Well, like I said, the Colts have actually kept it close with some pretty talented Eagles team, and then obviously they kept it close last week. They've been at the end of it every single game, but they haven't scored more than 17 points. So I'm going to say 17 for the Colts, and I'll go ahead and I'll say 24 for the Cowboys. I think it's a one touchdown game, but because that seems to be, the thing is they play really hard and they play close to the end, but they just can't get it done. So 24-17 Cowboys.
I think just I'm scared because I think this is a game where Dallas could just take off with this. Like I felt good about this game going into the season. I think we all felt good, right? We all felt good about where the Colts would be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My whole entire family is Cowboy fans, dude. If one of them freaking messes with me Sunday night, depends on what my mood is from the TCU game. If we win, I probably won't even care what this game ends up being. But if one of them messes with me, I might fight somebody Sunday night. I just might. I might be in jail Monday morning, possibly.
Hey, the Colts are not worth it. It's not worth
it. I gotta see. I gotta react to who we're gonna take in April, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We scouting prospects at this time. We don't care about the Colts schedule the rest of the year. We already know what's going to happen.
Oh yeah,
Give us a good fight just to let us
fully
down.
entrenched in draft season at this point.
Hey man, I'm rooting for Bernard Ryman Sunday night, man. I'm rooting for him.
There we go.
Too.
Put up a fight, man. Put up a fight against Micah Parsons.
Plus, I mean, we get to see Grover Stewart versus Zach Martin. Like,
bro,
what a matchup.
I love trench matchups, man. I love them.
There's good stuff.
I will watch college games just to watch. And Landon, I know you do too. I will watch college games just for the matchups. I don't even care who wins. Like I want to see these matchups.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll put every week. I'll put a matchup thread right out there of matchups to watch for draft prospects.
Hey man, you've shown my boy Steve Avila some love. Now I'll give you credit there. You've shown him some love.
Yeah, he's a good player.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys to win. It's going to be 24-13, in my opinion. I think.
How dare you not choose Colts?
I beg your pardon?
How dare you not choose the Colts?
How dare the Colts not win a close game? They've been in so many close games and can't pull it out. But
oh my goodness, my mother-in-law's in this chat.
Yeah, that's why I put the comment up there earlier. She said she's going to mess with you. So yeah, definitely think the Colts can put up a fight, but I don't think they're going to have enough. Hopefully they can surprise me and tell me otherwise, but they haven't been doing that all year, so I'm not even going to change my thought process moving forward. But it's been a good stream. Appreciate everyone that tuned in from Facebook, YouTube. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching this post-stream. If you are here now and you haven't done any of those, what are you waiting on? I mean, it's totally free to hit those buttons. But appreciate everyone that tuned in. Give us your final score predictions in the comment section. That is Michael. This is Landon, and this is Marcus. We appreciate you guys, and we are out.